I'm traveling down the road and I'm talking. In a major EMP type event. Got the pedal to the floor. Time is kind of the essence, and people were starting to behave badly. This is probably how I would be moving. There's gonna be 3 factors that really matter. I have had stress fractures in my feet, and it is debilitating. This is pretty representative of a carry-on pack that I would have with me on a plane. Swapping your socks out, keeping your feet dry. Things to replenish all the calories that you're burning. Socks, I've got water, and I've got some food. Spend the evening just like this. I would see them before they see me. Shelter's right there. Flying home, you just took the red eye home. It was a late night flight. It saved a few dollars. You got home the wee hours of the morning. You hopped in an Uber, and it's a 30-45 minute drive to your house or your apartment or whatever else, just on the outskirts of some big city. On the way home, you're dozing off. You got your head leaned against the window, and suddenly you feel the car come to a stop at a place that it shouldn't come to a stop. And then you notice all the cars around you have come to a stop. And you notice all the lights are out on the streets that normally are really well lit. And everything's really quiet. It's starting to freak you out a little bit. Let's say, in this scenario, it's been a major EMP type event. Sure, probably unlikely, but it's worst case scenario kind of stuff. Let's say you're 30, 40, 50 miles from your destination. This weekend at Georgia Bushcraft in Watkinsville, Georgia, May 4th and 5th. So if you're seeing this in time, go to georgiabushcraft.com. If you're interested in testing yourself, testing your skills and abilities, testing your equipment, your get home bag, please come hang out with us on the 4th and 5th. It's gonna be 24 hours of survival. Now, I think in a situation like this, time is kind of the essence, and I would want to be getting the heck out of Dodge as fast as possible, because it's only a matter of probably hours before the people that are interested in taking advantage of a situation like that start to come out. They start to realize that there's going to be no one there to stop them from the wrongdoing that they intend to do, whether that just be steal and pillage or worse. So like I said, I think time is of the essence, and we need to get a move on really fast. And mobility is going to be life. It's going to be key in a situation like this. You need to be dressed appropriately. Let's say I was on a flight. This is pretty much kind of what I would look like right here. I've got comfortable shoes. I'm wearing a pair of blue jeans, so I blend in with the civvies, blend in with the urbanites. I've got a cotton t-shirt on. I've got a ball cap on my head, and I've got a small carry-on backpack. And this is what I travel with. This is, if I flew to pretty much anywhere, with the exception of an extended stay where I need a lot more clothing and things like that, this is pretty much what I would take. I'd have a change of clothes or two, something like that. And this is some basic supplies. I don't have a weapon on me per se, other than my fisticuffs. I could always improvise something, of course, but I don't have a concealed carry or anything like that, because I don't like to check them. That's just not my thing. Maybe you disagree and you never travel anywhere on a flight, or maybe you just never fly. You never go anywhere without your concealed carry, and that's you. But everyone makes their own decisions. I personally don't. If I gotta fly somewhere, I don't take it for the most part, and I just have to do without. So that's where your skill, situational awareness, your ability to avoid problems before they happen is going to be really key. I'm dressed appropriately. I've got comfortable shoes on. I've got the supplies and equipment I think would be necessary for a adventure such as that. Now, let's say you're in a situation like Atlanta, right, which is the biggest city near me. Let's say I'm there. Atlanta's huge. It is massive. If I was at the airport, it's fairly close. The airport's actually Hartsfield is actually pretty close to the perimeter of Atlanta, so it's not too far of a distance to get outside the perimeter of Atlanta. Still, kind of a sketchy area, and wouldn't want to hang out there too long, but it's not a crazy huge walk to get outside of the city and into the suburbia type areas. So that's what I'd be doing. I'd be beating feet as quick as I possibly can, and I'd be as fast. I'd take the roads initially until I sensed possible danger and things were starting to heat up, and then I would skirt along the edges of the roads as much as I possibly could. Easier said than done, especially in in urban, suburban type areas, but having a planned route ahead of time is really important. But having a map of the area is also important, so you know kind of where the back roads are, and you can navigate from point A to point B without hopefully confronting a lot of issues. I'd be handrailing roads like this, and I could stay kind of on the outskirts just like this, and I could be moving along. It's slower, it's more tedious, it's harder walking, but if things were heating up and people were starting to behave badly, this is probably how I would be moving. Smooth, quiet, you know, just trucking along through the wood line right here, just on the edge of the road. And I'd be paying attention, looking out, you know. I'd have to probably cross the road from time to time because I might run into a house or something up ahead of me, like I would in this situation. There's a house, you can't quite see it, but there's a house right up here. And maybe I would have to cross the road just to avoid it. Good places to cross the road, look for game trails. Right, here's a game trail right here. You probably can't see it on camera, but there is a game trail right here that goes this way, goes up that way, and crosses the road right there. So deer are sneaky, and they know good places to cross the road, despite them getting hit by cars a lot. That's a separate issue. But they know the sneakiest places to cross the road where they're most likely not going to be seen. And crossing the road on a game trail, not a bad idea. So let's say I was beating feet and I'm trying to cover distance. I'm trying to get there as fast as I possibly can. There's gonna be 3 factors that really, really matter. You could carry all the gear and all the equipment under the sun. But in my opinion, the lighter, the better. The less crap you have to carry, the easier that walk home is going to be. The less burden you're going to have on your body, the less fatigue you're going to feel, the less injuries that you're going to start accumulating, like blisters, stress fractures. I have had stress fractures in my feet, and it is debilitating. And once your feet are done, you are done. I would be dressed appropriately. Anytime I go to an urban area, I have comfortable footwear on that I could walk long distances in. Well, typically when I'm in an urban area, I'm walking long distances anyway, regardless of an SHTF event. So I would want comfortable shoes and really good socks. I always wear wool socks, always. This is pretty representative of a carry-on pack that I would have with me on a plane. I've also got all my EDC normal stuff minus a concealed carry and a knife in my pockets. I've got everything else. I've flown back and forth lots of times with everything that I've got in me. I've even got a small ceramic blade in my belt, in my Wazoo cash belt, that I have flown tons of times with and never had a single issue. Your results may vary, but I've never had an issue. In my pack, in a situation like this, probably top 2 to 3 things that I have in here is gonna be my water filter right here. I have alternative ways to get water, but this one is the easiest and most convenient, a Grail water filter. This thing is awesome because it not only gets rid of waterborne pathogens, it will get rid of chemicals that you'll most likely experience in an urban area. So I can get fountain water, I can get water out of the ditch, I can do whatever I need to. I can find whatever water source is available, and I can purify it with this right here. Next on the list in order of importance, is probably going to be a spare set of socks right here. Because if you don't take care of your feet and you're not swapping your socks out, keeping your feet dry, you're going to start to develop blisters, hot spots, and then they turn into blisters. And those can be really debilitating, especially if you've got multiple days of travel ahead of you. So having spare socks like this, or a couple pairs of spare socks, is going to be crucial. Absolutely crucial. Spare clothing, I think, is important too, but especially socks. And then third thing on the list is gonna be calories. If you don't have calories, things to replenish all the calories that you're burning, you're gonna run out of steam really, really fast. If you're not replacing electrolytes, that's something I need to add to my pack, actually. I just drank them, is an electrolyte replacement. If you're not replacing that stuff, your muscles will start to cramp up and your body will fatigue to the point where you can't continue any longer. Inflammation gets worse. It gets really, really bad. So having a way to supply yourself with the calories necessary to get home, you don't need that much. You just need to keep feeding the machine if you're planning on walking long, long distances. You're gonna lose some weight for sure, no question. But you can't make really, really long distances without some sort of replenishment. Gore-Tex rain jacket around my waist right here that I pretty much always travel with, something like that, some form of protection. So as long as I'm dressed appropriately, I can protect myself from the elements. And I have socks, I've got water, and I've got some food. I can get myself from point A to point B. Solid first aid kit, definitely important. You just never know what's going to happen. Auto accidents, collisions, people acting badly. You just don't know. This is my OSH kit. The only thing that's not in here is the blade, is the Ulu, because flying on a plane with a blade is a no-no. There is the ceramic one in here. I have pretty much all this stuff minus the shelter sheet. There is a Mylar blanket in here, and there's some Wazoo fire cards. Everything else I pretty much have in my belt, so I would carry this or wear the belt. One of the most common comments that I've gotten on this kit right here is that I can build it for less. You know, you may be right, and I encourage you to do so. I want you to build your own kit. I would rather you spend the time and energy learning about the gear and stuff that works versus what doesn't work. I would rather you spend that time learning about that kind of stuff and experiencing those things for yourself than just buying a kit like this. I want you to make your own kit. However, if you don't have the time and you want something that actually works and you don't have to go out and field test it per se, then I think this is a solid choice. But I'm a little partial, I guess. I've got a lot of small supplies in here, and this is a backup way to purify my water. I can boil it in here if I had to. In this type of situation, I'm not gonna want a campfire. I'm not gonna be wanting to do that. I wanna lay low. I'm just gonna be trying to get from point A to point B if I have to stop and rest. Now, let's say I've been walking all day. I've covered 20 plus miles, right? I would probably want to, or need to rest. Maybe I wouldn't want to, but I would probably need to rest my body a little bit, get a bite to eat, rehydrate, and rest my body so I can continue moving the following day. Moving at night, moving at during the day, that's debatable depending on the situation, but I have my feelings on that. But anyway, moving on. If I needed to stop, I would look for a spot kind of like this. So the road is right there, and there's another road right here, and there's a house right there actually. But, well, I'll show you in just a second, but if I was up there on that road, there's no way I would see this spot right here because of the terrain, right? I've got varying terrain, the micro terrain here. I can hide behind vegetation, and the hill itself is blocking anybody's view from this spot right here. So I could lay down right here, lay low for a while. Car just went by. You can't see the car, so they most likely can't see you. But anyway, if I needed to bed down here for the evening, I've got some extra clothing. I've got like a wool cap and stuff in my pack to help insulate me from a cooler evening. Especially if I'm sweaty and wet and stuff like that, it's a good idea to have some spare clothes. But anyway, I could put on my rain jacket, and then I could crawl into this SOL Escape Bivy. I like these a lot because they're fairly durable, and they don't weigh anything. They're super lightweight. They don't take up much space in your pack. And it's the easiest, probably the most low profile, sneakiest shelter that you can get. You just unroll the thing. It's lined with Mylar like that, so it's gonna reflect some of your body heat back to you. And it's not a sleeping bag, so don't get your hopes up. It's not like that. It's not like you're gonna be good in 30 degrees sleeping in something like this. I mean, you may not die, but you won't be very comfortable. But it will, if you put a sleeping bag inside this will help the sleeping bag out, another 10 degrees, maybe a little more. But I definitely slept in this in the warmer months and had no problems whatsoever. But if I'm looking for a super low profile, sneaky shelter, I just get myself inside of here like so. Grab you. Clear the area, right? I mean, obviously, look for widowmakers, do all the things and normal camp setup and stuff like that. But then I get in my bivy bag down here, I zip the thing up around me, and I crash and spend the evening just like this, getting a couple hours of rest. In my cinch pack here as a pillow, perhaps. I could throw my actual pack inside of here if I was worried about any precipitation or something like that. And then I've also got another form of shelter and protection that I always carry with me. That, my friends, is going to be a poncho. I almost never go anywhere without a poncho because it is a great rain gear and it's a great shelter. It's kind of my primary source of shelter when I'm out camping just by myself anyway. So if I was worried about if it looked like it was going to bucket down rain like it is today, I would not just climb in my bivy bag, although it would keep most of the rain off of me. It wouldn't do 100% probably. I might get a little bit wet laying on the ground like that. So, and I don't have a sleep pad with me. I could make myself some sort of mattress. I could bring an inflatable mattress, or I could bring like a foam mattress, but those take up a lot of space. And honestly, I just don't carry them when I'm traveling on a plane just because of the space that they take up. So I would have to improvise myself some sort of little mattress to just rake up some leaves, some duff. I could fill up a garbage bag like this one with some leaves, some dry leaves or pine boughs or whatever, and make myself some sort of insulating mattress off the ground. I would just have to make do. Really, really quickly, I kind of just duck off the road and I get to setting up my shelter. And I would wait until, if I was moving during the day and resting at night, I would wait until pretty much dark before I started setting this up. I'd keep it low to the ground, like that. And then I'd come out here, tie off the hood, one of the things I like to do is just prop up the center of my tarp right there using just a small sapling like this one. I'll just bend it over, and that springiness of the sapling suspends my shelter up and gives me a little bit more room. So there we have it. I take my kit and I throw it in there. Camp is made. Now I'm protected from the nasty weather. It's gonna help insulate me a little bit, and I still have a visual of the world around me. I can still see that road up there. So if someone was to be approaching on foot, perhaps, I would see them before they see me, most likely. Now, if I was traveling on the path of least resistance up here by the road, or even next to the road, road's right there, I'm walking along. Because of the location, if I get a little closer, see it? Shelter's right there. Right? Really difficult to see because of the location. It's a camouflage shelter, it's low to the ground, and it's in a very secluded spot. So that is all those factors are working for me to keep me hidden, and I can lay low and get myself some much needed rest before I move on the next day. I like to keep spare clothing and stuff in this waxed canvas bag, this cinch pack from P&W, because it will help keep things dry inside of my pack. And I also have the poncho, so if it was raining down on top of me, I put the poncho on and drape the poncho over top of my kit, and everything stays dry. This is a sniper's veil, which helps me camouflage into my environment regardless of the clothing that I choose to wear in an urban environment, like a gray t-shirt or something like that, or a brighter color perhaps. I can drape this over top of me and disappear really effectively. Like I said, I've got my wool cap in here to help insulate me from the cold if I should have to sleep out unexpectedly. I've got some cut-resistant gloves. I've got a bandana multi-purpose cloth right there from Wazoo Gear. And then I've got myself a inexpensive Baofeng radio. So if my phone wasn't working and I wanted to know, just listen to AM radio perhaps and figure out what the heck is going on, right? You're left in the dark, literally and figuratively. You don't know what's going on. You're left in the dark. So having a way to get some intel, get some info on the world around you is really helpful, if not just for the sheer comfort of it. So a radio like this one, I think, is important. Or some maps. These are just some pages ripped out of a atlas, a road atlas. It's Atlanta and it's the state of Georgia. So with this map right here, although it's not extremely detailed, I would know where the major roads are, and I could kind of skirt along those major roads. I'm looking into getting some more detailed maps because unfortunately I do travel to Atlanta quite a bit, and I'm trying to up my navigation game. And my friend Bill Stoker from Stokermatic, if you're not following him on YouTube, make sure you do. Stokermatic, he is the land nav guy. I'm actually taking a class with him this weekend with my son. But anyway, he's told me that I can print off some really detailed maps of very specific areas that I choose. So I'm going to be doing that for future reference. And along those same principles, let's say that the scenario was the EMP. You know, we all use our phones to navigate, but if our phone wasn't working anymore, do you have a compass and do you know how to use it? I'm decent with a map and compass. I'm not good. So like I said, that's why I'm working on it. I think I could find my way out of a city for sure with the map and compass, but I want to get even better where I can really pinpoint locations if I need it. From here, after I had got myself a little bit of rest, got myself a little bit of sleep, I would be beating feet down the road again. And I think that having forethought, having thought about these scenarios ahead of time, I think is a really smart plan, because you just don't know. And this is kind of a worst case scenario, right? You know, everything is shut down, chaos, the fire, everything's on fire, things are blowing up around you. People are freaking out, robbing, pillaging, and doing all the things. Yeah, worst case scenario, of course, but if we train and we practice to that worst case scenario above what we might actually experience, then I think when the real thing comes, and it's, you know, maybe not that bad. Hopefully, all things considered. Guys, I'd love to hear what you think about this in the comment section. Tell me what your plan is. If you work in an area, you work in a city, or you travel regular, what's your plan? You know, do you have a plan? Have you thought about these things? Would you be just out of luck and be reliant upon the good graces of a helpful Samaritan, perhaps? I don't know. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you think about it. If you are near Atlanta, in the Atlanta area, or anywhere near it actually, come on down to Watkinsville this weekend, May 4th and 5th, and we're going to have 24 hours, a 24-hour experience where we will test our gear, we'll test ourselves, and we will see what we can actually do, what works, and more importantly, what doesn't work. Can't wait to see you on the next video, friends. Please hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll see you this weekend.